Okay. So the cards I got were power, message, air, and safe travel. Um, I'm gonna start with power. Power just being reconnecting with yourself, grounding within yourself, calling back fragments of yourself that are scattered, whether they're scattered in old relationships, whether they're scattered in expectations from others that you did not set for yourself, but you are still in a way attached to because maybe your true self does not align with them at all, but you've been trying to people please your way into appeasing those things or those people. Calling back your power from mistakes that you may have made in the past, calling back your power from not even necessarily mistakes, but just lessons that you've learned that required a part of you to be broken open in a way. But now that you are where you are, you're needing to go and gather yourself from those spaces. And there's a lot of ways that you can do it. I mean, there are simple things that you can do to like spark that process. You can literally pray that you call back all of your power, or that you call back lost fragments of yourself, from people, places, spaces that no longer resonate with your higher self. Um, Trying to tie in message. So even though the message card is message, what I'm seeing on here is this moth or butterfly, and butterflies have been just a huge theme for me in general. Excuse me. I actually posted a butterfly today on my story, but I feel like even though, you know, most people are calling what we just experienced the new year, I acknowledge and celebrate the new year in spring. And so many of us have this expectation that because it's after January 1st, that we're supposed to be blossoming already into this new version of ourselves, and the resolutions and all of the things that are supposed to be different, when in actuality most of us are very much I don't want to say behind that, but we haven't necessarily reached that point yet. We could still be in our cocoon stage. Um, and that's okay. And it's more than okay. It's probably most normal given where we are right now. It's cold outside. We're literally in hibernation mode. And this is the time that, this actually ties into the message that I was wanting to talk about. But we are in a space where we don't have to be in so much hustle and bustle energy. We can be allowing ourselves the space and the time to rest, and not to not do anything, but to allow things to work. The message that I was wanting to share with you all came to me super early today, 2:27 a.m. There was a book that I had picked up earlier this week, and something told me to flip it open, and when I did, oh, this is the book, by the way, Edgar Cayce's Story of the Soul. Now, I am not advocating for this book because I have not read through it all the way, but it did hold a good message that I'll be sharing with you all now. So, you could check it out, or maybe I'll let you guys know how I feel about it once I've read it all the way through, if I do get through the full book. But going back, I opened the book, and when I opened it up, I opened it onto the 5th chapter, and the name of the chapter is the 7th day, which we were about 2 hours into today, the 7th day of this year. And it was alluding to Genesis, where it was talking about God resting on the 7th day, after basically talking about creation, the story of creation. And it was going into how rest is not really how we usually view rest, but really it was the time that God was resting to let his purpose flow through everything that he had already set into motion. And that resonated with me so much, not just in life in general, but for creativity specifically, but really for both. When we get inspired and we get excited, we start, just working on things and feeling like we need to be checking off all of the things on the list. And a lot of times taking inspired action is what is most necessary. And sometimes that inspired action looks like knowing when you have done enough on your end, when you feel like you're pleased with what you've done so far, and then letting the magic work. And a lot of times I see people creating things, and even through the creation process, they're creating, but they're creating with, like certain accolades in mind, or having an end result that is revolving around receiving something from others. And I feel like when that is your frame of mind, you can't really reach a point of resting and allowing the intention that you put into your work to really just work its magic and naturally unfold how it's supposed to, because you have these metrics in your head of what you needed to do and when you needed to do it, and how many people it's supposed to reach by a certain time, and how many people you want to react in a certain way, and who you need to send it to, and like all of these things. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but the real goal should be, what are you trying to get people to receive from this creation? What intention have you put into it, and are you happy with that? Do you feel like you succeeded with that? And once you know that you've done that, your job in that aspect is done. Once you get the okay and you know that it's time to put it out there. Or even if it's not, because sometimes that resting period is to allow something to happen within you to really complete it, because sometimes you feel like it's finished and it's not finished. But when it is done, just allowing your intention to really be fulfilled, and not judging what you're giving others based on how many likes it received, or how many reshares, and how many people commented, and how many streams you get, or how many people want to buy, whatever your art is, or how many views you got if you're doing content. And I think that goes back to the air, like removing the logic sometimes from what you feel like the metrics are supposed to be, and allowing what feels good. I shouldn't even say what feels good, what feels right to happen. And the next card was safe travel. Like, don't limit how far something can reach by your metrics, by what you can conceive in your mind. Because 9 times out of 10, the metrics that you have come up with, they may be grand in certain ways, but they can be so small in the way of impact, which is really what I believe the goal should be. It's like you're stopping its true reach before it even gets the chance to spread and get out there, because you have all of these man-made stipulations on it of the success that you wanted to have. And that will just have you feeling like you're not doing enough, when in actuality you could be exceeding what you felt like you were capable of, or what you felt like your art was capable of, if you really go back and think about what your first intentions were before you introduced all of those other stipulations and goals into the picture. Also, knowing that once you expend all of that energy, you do deserve rest. A lot of times we're channeling these songs, poems, pictures, words, and it takes a lot out of us. A lot of times it takes personal experience. We have to actually live these things to be able to have the context to be used to share these things with others. And once we've done all of that, it's not lazy or what word am I looking for? Like you're not stunting progress by allowing yourself time to operate in other realms while the magic happens. Yeah. I think that is basically what I wanted to share. I want to look at my notes from what I wrote earlier, see if there was anything else. Yeah, bottom line, allow yourself to rest. Allow the transformation within you to happen. Allow yourself whatever it is that you need to transform from where you are now into your final stages, which it never really ends, but of this version of yourself. Excuse me, without remorse, without feeling bad, without feeling lazy, without feeling like you're procrastinating or, like I said, stunting progress. And don't allow people to shame you for it. Do not allow people to shame you that don't understand, that are not living in purpose, that are not alchemizing the things that you're having to alchemize, that are not willing to feel all the feels and go to these dark spaces that a lot of us creatives have to go to make these beautiful things that people get to enjoy and cry to and smile and laugh about and feel. Just be kind and gentle with yourself and know that if you're doing what you're supposed to do with it, you are doing God's work, and you should be pleased with yourself. So yeah, I know this was a little long-winded, but I pray that you got something from it, and I will see you the next time I have something to share. Peace.